be done. Because
Here we go, Broncos country.
Dynamics of what will lead to that mountain. And most people have zero.
It's Orange Blue today, Postgame Live. Cecil Lammey getting things set up here for the postgame show after preseason game number 2. A hell of a lot better than I thought it would be. Now, I thought the Broncos would kick ass. But I wanted to see some things that I hadn't seen before in a game, and I got to see those, which made me happy. How are you feeling, Broncos country? Let me know in the chat room. Let me know in the live chat. Let me know in the comments here on YouTube. Denver Broncos get it done in a big way, 27-7, the final score over the Arizona Cardinals. Interesting first half, less interesting second half. Lots to get into as the battles are going to be very tough on this team. Lots of tough decisions coming up. We'll see how the Broncos answer those roster questions, but I am your host, Cecil Lammey, and I am fired up about this team because of what I saw starting first from RJ Harvey. I'm going to talk about Harvey's game. I'm going to talk about Pat Bryant's game. I'm going to talk about Troy Franklin's game. I'm going to talk about why the hell was Evan Ingram out there. Lots to get to in tonight's game, and I want to hear from you. Again, the show is about you. So here we go. And Detroit is on the house. He says it's over for Estime, perhaps. And Ricky says we're so hot right now. Everything's so hot, I need to cool off with the delicious sparkling water. So cheers to you, Broncos country. Cheers to you tonight here on this show. And I'm going to break it down. I'm going to talk about everything need to see. We'll start with RJ Harvey. Going to talk a lot about Jonah Ellis. Going to talk about Jahdae Barron, the good and the bad. We can't ignore the things he needs to work on. I had a group chat going on with the fellas from Dover and Cecil, including Kevin Kistner, who I think was at least watching the Broncos on vacation, if not back from vacation. And then our producer, Drew Spivak, who was at a soccer game. But anyway, had the group chat going, and guy like, look at Jahdae Barron. I'm like, well, look at what he needs to work on as well. So we're going to talk about it all. We don't shy away from anything. And we're here to have some fun, man. It's preseason. Broncos starters didn't play, although Evan Ingram was out there. And I was like, what? Evan Ingram doesn't need to be out there. I was texting my buddy Mark. Shout out, Mark. If you're watching out there in Hollywood, appreciate you, brother. But I didn't want Evan Ingram out there. He makes that big 58-yard play, whatever it was. I'm like, yeah, he's been doing that in practice. I don't need to see Evan Ingram out there. Just keep him healthy for the regular season. That's what I wanted, for sure, from Ingram. But it was fun to see. I know with only 800 tickets to Broncos training camp, not everyone was able to see what Evan Ingram was doing on a daily basis, essentially. In this Broncos offense, being moved around the formation, the Joker. I tweeted about it because Twitter's the most important thing ever, and I'm being a smartass, which is better than being a dumbass. Also, by the way, I have a lightning storm going on here in Roxborough. So if I lose power or the stream shuts down, then just know that it's either that or the drone/alien stuff they're working on at Lockheed Martin. Something got out there, but either way, it's a little unnerving because lots of lightning here in the mountains. And of course, in the foothills and in the mountains, you don't want the lightning because it'll start a fire. So again, the fire was on the field, and in Power Field at Mile Highs, the Denver Broncos got it done. And yeah, Evan Ingram, if you didn't get to see him in training camp, then that's what he's going to do. And I know we all believe, that's for sure. Why is that fuzzy? Believe is what we all do. But it's nice to see Jarrett Stidham play like that. Jarrett Stidham is a backup quarterback, but he is, if you were to rank the backups, you go, okay, there's some interesting backups out there like Malik Willis with the Packers, stuff like that. But if you just look at other teams, you go, Jarrett Stidham's a, pretty good backup. Not bottom of the barrel backup, perhaps not top of the top, but I would feel for, 4 games, if Jarrett Stidham had to play, I'd feel good about those games, at least 2-2. And you can't say that about every backup quarterback. And one of the main things with Stidham that I wanted to see, Mason and I talked about it on Orange and Blue today. This is Orange Blue Today, post-game live, is that Stidham, the last year of Russell Wilson, like when Stidham gets in, then it's like chaos and sacks and hold on to the ball too long. You see a comfort level that's there. You see an attack in the field that's there. Usually it goes at the tight end. Like if Evan Ingram ever has any reps with Jarrett Stidham, he gets all the passes because Jarrett Stidham loves the tight end. So, yeah, it was good to see Stidham go out there. Bryant, Franklin, got a lot to say about RJ Harvey here tonight as well. And I want to hear from you. What did you think? What did you see? Here to talk about it. Don't know how long I'll go. Usually I like to keep it around an hour, but we got some time. Let's hang out, right? Let's talk Broncos. And let's see who impressed and who did not. Harry Plopper starts out with the Gargiulo injury. Hurts bad. I don't think they dress 6 receivers. I'm not going to say that's preposterous, but it's interesting if they were to dress 6 receivers. Caleb Lohner should not make the team, and Caden Prescorn should make the practice squad. And Caleb Lohner, they spent a pick on him. He's a developmental guy. He's their favorite. He'll make the practice squad, I think, with the mental thing. And just he doesn't know how to play tight end. He's not a tight end. Prescorn's a tight end, at least. So, yeah, lots to get into there for sure. I'll stick with the starter, the stars of tonight, like RJ Harvey, Pat Bryant, Troy Franklin, etc. And I'll make my way to Caden Prescorn and Caleb Lohner and the Gargiulo injury, etc. So let me get some of the top thoughts out of the way. Jarrett Stidham looking good. If you disagree with me, let me know. Eisenhower Outdoors and Reviews, Eisenhower. What's up, Cecil Mace? Mace is on assignment because he's at the game. He's in the locker room right now, or at a press conference talking to coach. So it's just me hoping the power doesn't go out in this lightning storm. So there you go. Alan says Pat Bryant has to be active. Yes, he does. And with these other young receivers on this team, it makes you go, okay, are you taking phone calls? You're not making phone calls. As I've often said, you're not making phone calls for Devon Bailey or whoever. But if another team calls, you're taking all calls anyway. Everybody's on the block, right? Every call. Hey, we'll give you 7 first-rounders for Pat Surtain. You'll take that call. You won't say yes, but getting ridiculous. But I get not offended, because then I would have to say get as offended as you like. But I get kind of annoyed, just honestly, when people say, you could never trade. Yeah, you could trade Devon Bailey. You could. Not saying I want to, not even saying it's going to happen. But with this type of thing, with Pat Bryant doing exactly what Pat Bryant does, the word that I used for Pat Bryant after the draft was clutch. When Mason and I talked about him first, because we were at the Senior Bowl and others were not. I heard other people saying that we brought up Pat Bryant first. I'm like, you weren't at the Senior Bowl. How could you bring up Pat Bryant first unless you're an alumni? Say that 3 times fast. But for me, it's like, okay, I just dressing 6 receivers is odd. Again, I'm not going to say it's ridiculous, but it's odd. It's something like you have that much talent, but it's just odd. And special teams has to play into things. Franklin was awesome. So there's that as well. But with this receiver kind of log jam, and Marvin Mims is the number 2, but the number 2 changes. So I don't think anyone should grasp onto that. I know that my man Zach Bye, Philip Lindsay, love them both dearly, both dear friends. They have made a pretty big deal about who's the number 2. And I've been trying to counter that and say the number 2 is going to change. The number 2 receiver is the number 4 target in the offense. And the number 4 target in the offense may be Marvin Mims. It may be Pat Bryant. It may be Troy Franklin. It may be Devon Bailey. But he is clearly the number 4 target in the offense, because your first is Cortland Sutton. My God, let me tell you about diamond cuts with Cortland Sutton from practice. Obviously, he didn't play in this game. Your next target is Evan Ingram. I have him projected for 69 catches because that's nice, but it's probably going to be more. You know, you never really project for injury. So, like, if he misses a couple of games, but I think 69 catches was the number I was on, after they picked him up, after the draft, kind of take a look at the team. I thought Evan Ingram, it's about 100 targets. 30 of those don't hit the mark or whatever. They're off or something. And then you've got 69 catches. It could be 75. It could be 80. But I know this. Evan Ingram is the number 2 target. The number 3 target is probably RJ Harvey or J.K. Dobbins. And God bless Steve Levy, who is an acquaintance. I know him. We're friendly. I like Steve. But when he's like, I haven't seen J.K. Dobbins tonight, I almost spit out my wonderful Topo Chico. This is my second one of the night. And I was just like, he's a starter. He's the starter. RJ Harvey is the future starter, but they're both co-starters, whatever. I'll ride the fence like Mike Evans. Like, they're both going to play. They're both going to play significant snaps. And in fact, if RJ Harvey had 80 catches, that wouldn't be surprising. But the third target is a back. And it's either JK or RJ. I'll mix in Jaleel a little bit later, Bidet a little bit later. But let's talk about what we saw from the guys out there, like an RJ Harvey, like a Jarrett Stidham, of course, like Troy Franklin, Pat Bryant. I'm getting there. Steps. There's levels to these things. And the preseason is all about seeing things we hadn't yet seen in a game. And maybe that practice stuff that we see carries over to the game. When I had said with confidence before the 49ers game, I've seen RJ Harvey take it inside in practice, no live tackling, but I've seen him do it enough that I feel confident that he will not try to bounce everything to the outside. And then the San Francisco game happened. And everybody, I implore you to listen to Mark Schlereth when he talked about the entry point. It's actually up on our Denver Sports YouTube channel. Dover and I interviewed Stink. Stink just came over because he heard us talking. He wanted to talk football. A lot less fart jokes on Dover and Cecil than Stokely and Evans. They love the potty humor, which is fine. That's them morning show. So Stink comes over. He talks about the entry point. And when Mark Schlereth speaks about the ground game or offensive line play or pretty much football in general, we all should listen, because there were Twitter analysts, which are great, although, as Ozzie Newsome told me years ago, never YouTube Scout. Coaching films available to the public now. Not Exos, though. And Exos allows you, like with Exos, I am able to say, give me every 3rd and 7 the Broncos played in 2024. And it'll pull it up like that, because teams use Exos. And Exos is a private. I think you can actually purchase it, but I think it's thousands. Anyway, I'm a snob about film. So there were Twitter analysts watching YouTube that were like, RJ was fine, and he's just him, and like he's okay. And the holes were there against San Francisco. It was not necessarily embarrassing, but it was off when you see it in practice and you don't see it in a game. And you did not see it in a game. He had like one carry, and then everything else is bouncing outside, and it just doesn't work. And Stink talks about the entry point in a wide zone system. You have to get to that entry point at the proper time, because it's all about timing. That hole's going to open and it's going to close. It's going to hunt. And it's like Jim Harbaugh being a creep looking at Justin Herbert, right? It's going to peek through and then he's going to go away. So you have to hit the entry point where you have the choice to do one of 3 things: bend, bang, or bounce. Bend it back opposite play side, banger between the tackles, or bounce it outside. And you should rarely bounce it outside. If it's there, it's blocked there. Jaleel McLaughlin bounced one outside is pretty good. But with RJ Harvey, it was so disappointing against the 49ers. And if you say differently, I mean, we can say that was disappointing, because it was. He's got speed. He's got explosion. He's going to be a great receiving option out of the backfield. He's got to learn pass protection. Mentally, I've heard that he's picked it up, but physically he has to continue to work on that. Your striking points, your stance, your balance, etc. It's a lot of technique and want to, but mainly it's want to. But understanding the technique, understanding the concepts the defense is showing you, these are things that I've heard Harvey has been picking up. He just needs to now further execute them. But either way, you have J.K. Dobbins, who's rock solid in pass pro. And JK is a fantastic runner in zone or gap. And then JK is also a decent receiver out of the backfield. I think RJ can be a better receiver out of the backfield. So the San Francisco game, Twitter analysts saying it's fine what RJ did. Stink saying no, he needs to be better. Tonight he was better. Tonight, RJ Harvey clearly had the command from on high to stay between the tackles. Like, you really have to be an inside out runner. Once in a while, like Jaleel McLaughlin did tonight, if you see that corner and you can get that corner, and Jaleel can, RJ can as well, then you can break that rule. But most of the time, you got to be inside, outside at the second level. But you must be inside. You must hit that entry point and then make that decision. But you've got to get to that entry point. You have to get there on time. And you have to be disciplined, or else everyone's just going to play. And everybody's fast in the NFL. They're going to make that corner. So RJ Harvey tonight looked like the player that he had shown in training camp, which was awesome. Because in training camp, no tackling, but he was an inside-out runner. And it gave me confidence in him being an inside-out runner, because 79% of his carries at UCF went outside the tackles. That doesn't work in the NFL. That doesn't work. And we've seen it with a million college backs. So don't at me, bro. There's a ton of examples of college backs that all they did was bounce everything outside, and it works in college, and it does not work in the NFL whatsoever. You must be disciplined. Philip Lindsay, what made him a 2-time 1,000-yard rusher. And Phil's taken some L's from some fans out there. First off, like, if you knew Phil, you would know what a great man he is. Like, truly a great young man and a great Coloradan, and a great friend. Works his ass off, works really hard. I mean, just thrown into the media basically, 2 years ago with no experience, and has really rounded his game out, becoming better and better every time he cracks a mic. So it kind of bothers me. I know Dover went after some people online and whatever, and that's not my way on Twitter, because I think it's worthless anyway. But for anyone out there like bagging on Phil, look in the mirror. Look in the mirror. You're not an NFL player like him, and I know that things fell apart, but like, come on. You were not Philip Lindsay, and he's a great man. So I will back my coworker and friend to the end. Either way, getting off track. But like Philip Lindsay, he was an inside-out runner. RJ Harvey showed the intent tonight to be that inside-out runner, and you love to see it. With Harvey, 6 yards of carry, and the long was 8. Okay, if a guy has 6 yards of carry, and I know it's only a few carries, but if he has 6 yards of carry, but one was like 75 yards, well, yeah, of course, that's going to skew the average. But if your long was 8 and your average 6, let me do the math there. Like 6, 7, 8. Were those your carries? I think my math is wrong, actually. Shocker. Grover math wrong. But like, the long was 8. He didn't rip a big one and then, oh, well, that's why it's 6 yards of carry. No, he was consistently gashing you for 6 yards of carry. And that's exactly what he needs to do, because those big home runs, I'm sure he wants that 80-yard run. I'm sure he wants that level of play like Jaleel McLaughlin got tonight. And he's going to do it multiple times, maybe once a game, maybe twice a game. I'm not sure what the number is going to be, but I know the explosive play rate for RJ Harvey, it will be there, but it must come from being an inside-out runner. Because again, if your reputation is to take it to the corner store, why did I say reputation? If your reputation is to take it to the corner store, then defenses will adjust and everybody's fast, and it will not work. You can be a big RJ Harvey fan. I don't necessarily classify myself as a fan, but I definitely admire his game, and I feel the fit with Sean Payton. Because for me, I would have done what I needed to do to get Travion Henderson. And actually, me being crazy, I would have traded up for Ashton Jeanty and got in front of the Raiders. It would be impossible. You have to give up 1 million picks or whatever. That's not the conversation today. But for me, I'm just saying, like, I had other options in this draft other than RJ Harvey. Sean had 2. Ashton Jeanty, who he knew he wasn't going to get, and RJ Harvey, who he had to tell himself to shut up for. His words, not mine. after he watched him and kind of figured out, got that Sproles feeling from him. And I think he can be like Sproles plus. I think the production on the ground could be there more than it was for Darren Sproles. And perhaps not quite Michael Turner, because Turner was squatty, but he was heavier than Harvey. Somebody look it up for me, please. But just sort of that, like, RJ Harvey could be a 1,500-yard rusher in this offense. The fit, and I know Alvin Kamara's never been a 1,000-yard guy, but he's also like always getting 1,500 all-purpose. I think 1,500 all-purpose is possible this year for RJ Harvey. So what I'm saying by being long-winded, because I am long-winded, is that with RJ Harvey, I'm like, yeah, of course. If he does that, if he does what he did tonight, and he shows the discipline of being an inside-out runner, it's exactly what this Broncos team needs. And it's exactly what can take them to that next step, right? That next level, if you will. So I love to see that from RJ Harvey. I would like to see more from RJ Harvey in terms of, just get that pass protection down, get in a spot where you are able to really like just be the man. Excuse me. Can RJ Harvey just straight up be the man? Yes. Now Sean Payton's going to use 2. He likes using 2, doesn't really like using 3. So the 2, and I'll get to Jalil in just a second, but the 2, yeah, I think the 2, we know it's JK and it's RJ. And that could be a damn fine combination for this team. Because of JK's experience, because of his ability to do everything, including pass protection, and being a runner with explosive capability, a runner with some power, perhaps maybe not as much as Audric Estime should have. Things aren't looking good for Audric Estime, just, point blank period. So, JK, RJ, doing what RJ did tonight. And it doesn't have to be, just 6 yards to carry every time out. Be nice if it was 6 yards to carry, then he would be a 1,500-yard guy. But for me, the main thing with RJ Harvey tonight was the willingness and kind of emphasis, almost like a little bit of an exclamation point, almost like, again, somebody really told him to do that and to make sure to stay on your entry point and to be an inside out runner and get to the entry point and then make that decision as quickly as possible. It, perhaps Sean Payton says something about it in the post-game presser, perhaps not, but the way that RJ, and there was a couple opportunities, I don't think they would have been larger runs for him, but there was a couple of the replays for RJ Harvey where it was like, he might have wanted to break that one. There was one play specifically where the left side looked like a little weak, like it was collapsing, so he would pick a bend instead of a bang or a bounce. But that's good because he has that vision to have use the Sean Payton word. So he has the vision to see that perhaps coming open, but still with basically the intent tonight of like, I'm ramming it up in there, right? And with his balance, because he has really good contact balance, with his ability to, not necessarily blast through guys, not a pile pusher, but he's not going to come down easily. He's not a guy you're going to get on the ground easily at all whatsoever. So because of that, you love to see, his contact balance, just his low center of gravity. It's hard to knock him off track. And you do see it when they thud up during practice because there's no live tackling to the ground, but they do thud up. And, you'll body a guy. And if he's a little lighter on his feet, Jalil used to do this. I haven't seen him do it this year, but it used to be when you thud up Jalil, he'd like fly, backwards because he's little, but he added 12 pounds of muscle to his upper body. You can completely see it. And I think it's really going to benefit him this season. So that was good to see. That was exciting to see for the Denver Broncos. So, you look at what's happening with this team and how they are like coming together with that ground game. It can open up so things, many wonderful things for this team. So that's something with RJ Harvey I was really, really happy to see tonight. And I think it's one of the most important things. Now, chat room's going nuts about Troy Franklin and Pat Bryant, and there's other players to get nuts about as well. Joan Ellis. Well, and Q Robinson's really athletic, but he needs he needs some moves, and then he needs some stackable moves because he does one thing, and if it doesn't work, he's just done. I don't like his opposite side play pursuit either, but that's me nitpicking. Like Q Robinson, who already is a special teams player, you know, and a great special teams player. When he was drafted, I got some Delarian Turner-Yale vibes. I was like, I hope, because I wanted other players that were available, including Taj Brooks or Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. I wanted 2 backs in this draft. Anyway, so back to Q Robinson super quick, although I wanted to save him for later, is that like he does one move, and if it doesn't work, he just kind of stops. And that's a young player. So don't at me, bro. Like, yeah, it's a young player who doesn't know when the play goes away from you. You got to hustle your ass. Get over there. It's one of the things Joan Ellis does. Dondrea Tillman do spectacularly, like perfect. And then when your first move doesn't work, go to a second move. But he was getting thrown down, almost like an offensive line ghost move where they would like ghost block and he would overextend and then they'd grab onto the inside and just pull him down. So I'll touch on that a little bit later. I think we can be really, really excited and 95% excited, but there's 5% of those type of things. Jahdae Barron getting pick play. The rookie's got to learn how to get past those picks. So there is that 5%, which we will talk about. We're not going to harp on it. And again, don't at me about it's just preseason. Yeah, well, either it's something or it's nothing. So what is it? And that's why when I was at halftime, yes, on my halftime tweet, which is quite famous, where I go, hey, you send me a GIF of how you're feeling. And mine today was the crow. Nothing is trivial. And this is a preseason game. The starters didn't play, but damn it, there's a lot of important things that happened tonight for the Denver Broncos. And there are some players that made the team pretty much. And there are players that perhaps lost their job tonight. And it's the second preseason game. So again, for those saying like, you quit bagging on whoever, insert player. Well, we can either be honest or we can just say everything's okay. We can say the preseason doesn't matter, because I get that a lot. Or we can say, because it doesn't mean everything, but it doesn't mean nothing. So nothing is trivial. The preseason, there were a lot of takeaways from this team. And if you're a big Broncos fan, you're going to be excited about this depth. You're going to be excited about these players on this roster. And then you might be a little sad because one of your fan favorites might be either dealt or cut. You know, I know there used to be some estimated defenders like a month ago, maybe even just a few weeks ago. Those seem to have quieted because you see what we've seen at practice. It's like, okay, it's just not there. But we know, and here's where, and this is why I wanted to start with RJ Harvey tonight, and why I've done pretty much of this half hour, I've done most of it on RJ Harvey, because I hadn't seen it in a game. And with Troy Franklin and what he did tonight, I've seen that in a game, wild card game against Buffalo. Now you're seeing more. So I guess seeing more is a good thing. But from what we've seen from Troy Franklin, just in practice, is like, okay, he's the most improved player on this roster. Now, why would you say that to Oregon fans that I was going back and forth with? It's like, well, he was the most improved because he had the most work to do. He was not great, Bob, a year ago with concentration problems, etc., and a very, very limited route tree. I don't think he's doing the full route tree like Marvin, but it's definitely open. If he's not doing all 9 routes, he's doing like 6 or 7. It's almost all completely open. So you see him on deep in routes, you see him on posts, you see him on slants routes. I don't think he knows a diamond technique yet, like Cortland Sutton does, to get open. with 3 large steps to the outside and that quick cut to the middle that Sutton is pretty much perfected. Jamar Chase is perfected. Justin Jefferson has perfected. The diamond cut is what everyone tries to do on slants now. You've only got one receiver that can really do it right now. Marvin's running all 9 routes. Troy's probably running 6 or 7. But I've seen him do that. So it's not any less exciting if you're into giving flowers out, which I know for whatever reason, that became a thing where everyone's like, you got to give such and such their flowers. I made Zach mad one time. I don't think I made him mad. But I know he took a little issue because someone said, you got to give Zach his flowers because he was on PTF or whatever. God. It's the Barstool podcast with the dude with the sunglasses and then Big Cat, right? Whatever. Pardon my take. So PMT, right? So somebody texted in, and Dover and I were like, "What the hell is PMT?" Like, I don't know. And I wasn't taking a shot at Zach for they read his tweet or something. But I'm like, hey, what? Pardon my take, huh? What is that? Okay, yeah, all right. So if you're a flower giver, which I am not. But I always thought it was funny when somebody said, you should give flowers out. People used to tell me last year, you need to give more flowers to Javonte Williams. I'm like, why? So we'll trample him in his 3 yards of carry. I'm not into giving flowers. But if you are, Franklin, Bryant, Jonah, RJ, Jarrett, of course, Evan Ingram, of course, like there's quite a bit to go around tonight. So just going, kind of step by step, starting with RJ, because I feel that's the most important thing. I knew that Troy Franklin was running more routes and had better hands this year. I knew that Pat Bryant was clutch and was going to move the chains. And I don't care about the 40. Senior Bowl had those strong hands, that clutch ability to work the sidelines, the back of the end zone. Pat Bryant can eventually be a Cortland Sutton replacement. Not now, not next year, but eventually. It takes 3 years for receivers. I'm going to give him 3 years. It's Marvin Mims' 3rd year. And look at where Marvin is. He's the number 2 receiver on this team. The number 2 receiver, the number 4 target, and the number 2 receiver will change, perhaps game plan by game plan. So 1 week it might be Troy Franklin. Franklin is pushing for that too. Marvin, though, if you know anything about Marvin Mims, he's feisty. He's fiery. He's not going to give up without a fight. So Franklin is putting up a strong case for the number 2 receiver that is currently Marvin Mims. Pat Bryant is putting up a strong case for the number 2 receiver that is currently Marvin Mims. Devon Vele, not as much. And, whatever happens with Vele, we'll see. But are you going to activate 6 receivers back to the beginning of the show? It's a little odd for me. Not saying they wouldn't do it, whatever. I guess I'll have to get used to it if they do. And Trent Sherfield's making this team, of course. So you have to think about your normally 5 active game day receivers. They've got some big decisions to make when it comes to those wide receivers. So Franklin carrying over what he's done so far. RJ doing something for the first time in a game with live tackling, of course, and looking really good because of it. And then Pat Bryant being clutch. So why Bryant is my 3rd guy I wanted to talk about tonight is because I already know Pat Bryant's clutch. Good to see it in a game, always. But that's who he is. He's going to, and notice the little things too with Pat Bryant. These are the great things about Pat Bryant. And I don't think he fully understands leverage man, the way that Sutton does. Sutton is a refined route runner. I guess I object when people are like, he's not a number 1. Yeah, he's not Jamar Chase. Outside of Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb, who the hell is Jamar Chase? Right? So I think Sutton is a top 15. If you want to put him at 15, that's fine. But don't say he's not a number 1. Like, he's a very refined route runner. Pat Bryant's pretty close right now. And there was a play in this game in the first half where Jarrett Stidham finds him, had to extend the play. I believe it was one where Stidham looked over to the sideline and then threw it. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. I'm chatting and I'm thinking at the same time. And that's difficult for me. I'm a simple man. Bryant went to the marker and made sure that he was going to catch the pass at the marker. Now, I'm a nerd. That closet is full of comic books and video cassettes of old preseason games and regular season games. As I transfer them from VCR to, I used to transfer to DVD. Now I'm trying to transfer my DVDs to just hard drives. Where's one of my hard drives? I usually have one of them sitting around. I think it's in the living room. Anyway, so I love preseason, and there's things to take away in the preseason. But the reason I bring that up with Pat Bryant is because I have seen a lot of rookie receivers have no idea where the marker's at. And when your quarterback's in trouble and they get a little bit loose with their discipline, so let's say it's like 3rd and 7 and Stidham, or somebody's running around, and the rookie receiver normally is going to be like, my quarterback's in trouble, and come way too far back to the ball. Always come back to the ball. Do the opposite of what your route calls for. If it's a short route, go long. If it's a long route, come back. But a lot of rookie receivers won't understand the field awareness to know, like, it's 3rd and 7. I can't cross that. I can't catch it at 6 yards and get tackled, and then we punt anyway. And with Bryant, and I'll watch the coach's tape, but like with Bryant, he knew where that marker was to help move the chains. So it's just these little things that you see in practice. It's these little things that you see in games that lets you know Pat Bryant is a real one, and one day could be the number 1 receiver for this team. If Sean Payton is saying Michael Thomas, I wasn't saying Michael Thomas. I was saying Kenny Golladay. And for those of you who remember Kenny Golladay, was he Northern Illinois? Where did he go to college? Anyway, Kenny Golladay was like a 3-time 1,000-yard receiver, 2-time 1,000-yard receiver. Really good. Then he got hurt, and that kind of shortened his career. And he was one of those like Pat Bryant. It's like, okay, not known for his speed, but his clutch, can move the chains, can work the sidelines, can work the back of the end zone. It's exactly what Pat Bryant does. So tonight, for me, it was Stidham, cementing that comfort level. Maybe I should have led with that. I kind of did. But like Stidham with that comfort level, rock solid. He's your backup. You want him as your backup. Probably only keep 2 quarterbacks because of this roster crunch. Sorry to Sam Ehlinger. I know he's made a couple of decent throws, including one tonight at least. But, it's probably not going to happen. And you probably just sit on the practice squad, hopefully for him, because even the practice squad is going to be full. But I think it's like Stidham's the backup. RJ's running inside, doing what he's supposed to, and really emphasizing that, having that intent. Troy, I already knew Troy was doing that. And then Pat Bryant, I already knew Pat Bryant was doing that. Good to see it in a game. But I think the most important thing was RJ looked different than he did last week. And if you think he looked good last week, listen to Mark Schlereth, because his entry points were bad. This week, entry points were good, and he stayed intent as a runner. So you love to see that. And offensively, we're working with a backup offensive line in there. And, we'll see how that depth continues. The Gargiulo injury was not fun. There was some, even to the Cardinals injuries, like anytime there's a game stoppage and you're just like, oh, not in the preseason. Doesn't have anything to do with the time. Yeah, take as long as you want. But it's a preseason game. And there is a certain sense of like, it is an exhibition. And God, you hate to have any sort of season ending or worse sort of injury from an exhibition game. A lot of things to take away from, a lot of things to talk about. I'll be getting to the chat room. I'm always late getting to the chat room, so I apologize as I just kind of do a little brain dump here after a game just to clear my mind of what I'm thinking. Like Savion Jones, damn, that dude, he gets across the line of scrimmage. He knifes through the offensive line, does a fantastic job. So give it up for Savion Jones. Some might look at the box score like, what's he doing? Where's he at? Like, just watch the game and you see how that middle pressure just changes things. Middle pressure can change what other players actually get sent to them, because I'm looking over the box score right now and I don't see Savion at all. But you know what he did is he knifed through that offensive line quickly. He created pressure, And then that got other players on the defense to make plays as well, like Jonah, like D'Andrea. Those guys hunt the football. Jonah Ellis has 6 moves to get after the passer. He did come out of college. He thought he only had 3. Him and I talked about it. I was like, you have 6. He's like, I only have 3. I'm like, no, you have 6. So we counted his 6 moves. He's so good at stacking those moves now. Q Robinson doesn't really have moves and not even anywhere near stacking moves yet. And he's a project, whatever. But Jonah, you see tonight, he's going speed to power. He's going power to speed. He's going rip swim. I don't think I saw a spin tonight, and I don't think I saw the forklift. But, like, that's a guy that is changing things up. Almost like a pitcher, the rare baseball reference for me, but almost like a pitcher where you got to change up what you're doing. Jonah Ellis changes that up and so strong on the edge. What was it? The first run, they tried to run right at him. I'm like, that's wrong. You can run a Nick Bonito, as was seen last week, and pay Nick Bonito. He's the greatest pass rusher of all time, or whatever I have to say. Like, that's a different conversation. Pay Nick Bonito. I'm sick of talking about it. But you can't run a Jonah. You cannot run a Jonah. And it was great to see him like hold his own, just clutter everything up for the other guys on his defense. Jordan Jackson eating because of it. Like his other guys, D'Andrea Tillman, the hustle from that guy. First off, he's got length and speed as a pass rusher. So D'Andrea Tillman is another, fine developmental, continue to develop rotational pass rusher. Give him 5, 6, 7 sacks. Give him 8 sacks. Like that's the type of player he is. But what I really admire from the rushers, Ellis and Tillman specifically, is that when the run goes to the other side, go back and watch D'Andrea Tillman. The run goes towards Ellis. Ellis holds his own. Everyone swarms, and Tillman's in there. Again, how many times have I seen a young player that when they see, oh, they got it, right? My guy's got it. They just stop. And I'm not saying that they're lazy or whatever, because Q Robinson did that multiple times tonight where he just gave up on the play because, well, those guys got it, right? No, not in the NFL. Somebody break a tackle, some sort of slip through, whatever. You got to get over there and crush somebody's ass. And D'Andrea Tillman did that tonight. And again, I believe it was the first one. Just go back and watch Tillman all night, because take your eye off the ball, read the book from Pat Kerwin. I'm sorry, Pat. I made fun of Jim Miller one time. So I'm sorry, Pat, because I love Pat Kerwin. But like, take your eye off the ball, and you understand, like, watch when the ball's going away from him, both Ellis and Tillman will pursue, and they take the shortest distance. I believe I saw Robinson try it one time, but he was continuing his rush. And it's like, once you see it's a run play, and once you see it's going the other way, stop, cut down the back of the offensive line, basically, and go down there. Vaughn used to be perfect at it. Now, I know I'm, using Q Robinson in the same sentence as I say Von Miller, and I should never do that. But what Vaughn would do is he'd do that little bend thing. Oh, it's run play, fold some guy inside, and he'd go down there and he'd swipe. He was so fast, and he had that crazy ass bend. He would go down there and he'd swipe at somebody's feet and trip them up. You have to do that at the pros. Just like a running back, you can't bounce everything outside. As a pass rusher, your job's not done when they don't run at you. When they run at you, you've got to hold up your own, keep the play inside of you, keep contain, so that your defenders know they have the sideline as an extra defender, and then you're keeping contain, you're turning everything back inside so everyone can funnel that way. Watch the touchdown run from Patrick Taylor last week for the 49ers. Watch the lack of contain, and then Hufanga and Moss play it like they should, even though Moss should have seen Hufanga had it and then played the outside, but you're not expecting there to be an outside because your outside linebacker or edge should keep contained. Jonah Ellis keeps contained. D'Andrea Tillman runs it down from the other side, even when his teammates are already there making the play. Tillman will either chip in on the play or he'll get right there. Like, to be there in case there's a fumble, to be there in case something happens, some guys breaks away. How do you get out of that? Like, you have to do that. And it's so awesome. And this, again, it's nothing in the box score. Nothing in the box score. You're not going to get box score for backside pursuit. but you're going to get your coach's respect. You're going to get your teammates' respect. And with Dondrea Tillman and Jonah Ellis, it was just like, God, how are they? If I'll use the Zach Bye thing, if you were an alien and you came down from Earth, from Earth, if you were interdimensional and you just showed up in this one, if you were an alien, you came down, you saw Jonah Ellis and Dondrea Tillman, you'd be like, oh, those guys are starters, right? Those guys are they're the number one guys on the. Okay, you've explained pass rushing to me. That guy's he's the starter. He's the number one, right? Jonah Ellis. That's your number 3 and 4 pass rusher. Like, my God, it's amazing. And it's a problem to have, but it's an amazing problem to have because who has this sort of depth? Who has this sort of ability? The Denver Broncos. That's who. Black Jack Chirac. That's who. Shout out to Biggie. He sent me the Bugs Bunny meme of that a couple days ago. So you love seeing that. And with Q Robinson, he's been better with the pads on in camp. When the pads first came on, he disappeared. When there were no pads, he was amazing because physically he's incredibly gifted. He's an Alabama player, but he's an Alabama player who, and I'll correct Ryan Harris on this because he's like, he played a bunch at Alabama. No, he didn't. He played a bunch when Nick Saban left. He played a bunch for a year. So he's really raw. Now he's a special teams player and he makes his team because of his special teams ability. When he was drafted, he makes his team because of his special teams ability. And I appreciate that he's batting down passes. He tried another one tonight. He didn't get it. But he's very aware, field awareness. He's got freak ability. He's a freak athlete in Q Robinson. It's just he doesn't know. His moves are not very sharp, which would make sense because, again, he didn't play a whole lot until the final year at Alabama. He got on the field as a defensive player when Nick Saban was gone. So whatever that says, that's what happened. He didn't play a lot. So he doesn't know what he needs to know right now. And it was completely obvious tonight because of linemen screwing with him, pulling him down, because of his first move not working and he just stops. Remember, I just got off a 10-minute rant about Dondrea Tillman and Jonah Ellis. Plays not, I'm going. Plays not near me, I'm going that way. With Q Robinson, it was like, plays not near me, okay. They got it. Like, he can't do that. He'll learn it and also learn to harness that freakish ability. But right now, he's your 5th pass rusher. And he makes the team because of his special teams ability. So he's a 53. He's an active roster guy, and he should get a jersey on game day because of what he can do on special teams. And then as a rusher, the freakish athletic ability is there. And this is different from, let's say, a Quanterus Smith. Remember him? Western Kentucky, I believe, Hilltopper. And my buddy Byron at the Combine, what he asked John Fox, like, I'm dying to know about Quanterus Smith. We used to play that drop a lot. Quanterus Smith never had the freak ability that Q Robinson has, like, right now. Quanterus was more like a strength length guy, whereas Q Robinson's like freak strength, freak speed, freak get off. So it's a work in progress defensively, which is fine. I'd expect him to be actually behind where he is right now. If just knowing Q Robinson's game from his 1 year basically doing something in Alabama till now, a normal rookie would be behind. A normal rookie would be like, well, at least he's a special teams guy. Robinson has been more interesting defensively than a normal rookie would be. A normal mid-round rookie would be like, okay, he's getting special teams down. Good, because he's not doing anything else. Robinson, maybe you mix in a little bit as a part-time rusher. So that was good to see. I thought Justin Sternad in his limited action was a little bit better. Again, back to that first run. Sternad was also in that mix, in that bunch there with Jonah Ellis keeping contained, which is exactly what you do. You keep everybody back and inside of you, and your defenders know where to go. They know the sideline is help. And Justin Sternad Last week as a run defender, questions as coverage last week, excellent from Justin Strnad. And then this week, very, very limited. I don't believe he ever made my mental notebook for anything negative tonight. Weakness against the run, anything like that. Lavelle Bailey, he's a liability in coverage. And as a run defender, he needs to learn how to shed, because guys will get on him and they're real sticky. He allows them to be sticky. And again, as a linebacker, some big ass offensive, imagine Mark Schlereth running at you, just grabbing you, and you're a linebacker, you're 230 or whatever. Like, yeah, Mark Schlereth's going to control you, but you also have to learn how to avoid that, learn how to set those tubby guys up, and then get around to the ball carrier. Lavelle Bailey doesn't know any of that yet. So feel good about Alex Singleton and his recovery. I feel good about Dre Greenlaw. Justin Strnad in coverage. And this inside linebacker is a concern. Again, back to the broadcast. They're like, these guys have everything. No, they don't. No, they don't. They don't. They have really, really good depth at many, many, many positions. And they're much better at backup quarterback than people would have thought with Jarrett Stidham. But inside linebacker is a concern. It is a concern for me. You look at the cornerback position, Damari Mathis is done. I liked him coming out of college, had the appropriate grade on him where he went. And then I believe that he lost his confidence, because that was back. Oh my God, was that Vic? So Damari, I believe, lost his confidence, and he just hasn't been the same since. And you saw it tonight. I think him and Audric Estime are both two guys where you go, well, see you later. Big gulps, huh? That's what you get with those two. And you want everyone to have a job forever and ever and ever, but that's not the way this league works. And when Audric Estime has 9 carries for 20 yards and a long of 7, now the longest run tonight was Julio with that 35-yarder. It was beautiful, man. Why did I go snowball there? But Audric Estime with the long of 7, okay? And 9 carries. I did ask for 20 carries over these last 2 games. I wanted 20 carries in just this game, although that was crazy. Although when it got to the second half and things got a little ridiculous, I was like, can Audric Estime just get 20 carries and we can hurry this thing up, get this thing over with? Then it was about me. But I believe Audric Estime is not even on the practice squad. Blake Watson should be on the practice squad. He looks good and he took care of the ball because this week in practice, he had the 2 fumbles. One was a bad pitch, but still fumble. And then he had to just straight up fumble himself. And then he had a drop pass in the joint practice. So basically, Blake Watson has been really good, except for this week when he had those couple of screw ups, if you will. But in the game, you see with Blake Watson, 10 carries, 34 yards, long of 9, 4 catches, 20 yards in this one, a long of 17. So you see where most of that 20 yards come from. But with Blake Watson, you see some positive there. And again, his first 10 yards are bam, lightning fast. I think the lightning died down. It was really wild here. You probably couldn't hear it through the microphone, but this downstairs window was rattling and there was extra light coming over here because of the lightning storm. It was crazy, man. Crazy. So yeah, I think Estime's gone. Get a chance in the Saints game. Maybe he does get over 10 carries in the Saints game because he needs to build up. His first 9 carries might be for 20 yards. His next 9 carries might be for 90 yards. So I would like to see it. I he's not going to get that opportunity. And he's not a receiver. If you don't want him, he'll kind of catch and kind of get open. And I understand in San Francisco, he had the 20-yard play, made the guy miss. Okay, that's fine. It's against guys that are going to sell insurance in a week. This league is brutal, man. This league is tough, and you could be drafted, and you're the talk of the town, and I'm going to be the guy. And then, look at Devontae Booker. He shows up and he says, I'm not here to carry pads. And then he could never beat CJ Anderson, my beloved bowling partner. Yeah. So this league chews you up and spits you out. It just doesn't care about you at all. unless you're a megastar, this league does not care about you. And if you don't do what you're supposed to do, Audric Estime is not the player he's supposed to be. And because of that, the team will move on, and they'll have zero problem moving on. They'll have zero problem with Audric Estime not being on the practice squad. Zero problem. How do I know this? He's a running back. And I don't want to be so short or cold, but that's what this game is. So with Audric Estime, if he's not doing it in preseason and he's not doing it in training camp, he's pretty much disappeared in camp. Blake Watson, outside of the fumbles this week, Blake Watson has taken over as that fourth guy. Well, guess what? Audric Estime will just be gone. So I think Mathis gone, Estime gone. I feel bad for Caden Prescorn. What with that fumble in the end zone, wherever. But that's a guy that you look. No, I sound like Chris Collinsworth. Oh God, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I should slide over like Collinsworth. Now here's a guy, but if I was Collinsworth, then I'd blow bubbles at Pat Mahomes, and I don't want to do that because I can't stand Kansas City except for Tech 9 and barbecue. But either way, now here's a guy in Blake Watson that can make plays. Here's a guy in Tyler Bidet that can make plays and be solid as a runner or receiver. RJ can be special. If RJ does what he did tonight, RJ can be special. And I think JK is, very good. I wouldn't say JK Dobbins is like great. I would say he's very good. And because he's very good, guess what? This team can run the ball. And Sean Payton in New Orleans 5 times had a top 7 rushing unit. 5 times. Top 7 in rushing attempts. So he'll run the ball when he's got the horses to do it. And I think that JK can be very good for this team. And I believe that RJ could be great in this fit. In this fit with Sean Payton, RJ could be great for this team. And I didn't really pay attention to Crawshaw. Somebody tell me in the chat room. Of course, Mace will talk about it on Monday, orange and blue today. But it's like, okay, what else am I missing here? Thought JL made some plays at safety. Certainly makes the team because of special team. You have a decision on PJ Locke. And that might not be what Locke wants to hear, but I believe you'll save $5 million in cap space if you get rid of PJ Locke. So, there's one more game, and we'll see if any of these guys can kind of change the narrative. Maybe Estime has 100 yards or something. I don't know. Maybe they feature him like they did Okwuegbunam. You're not going to get much in a trade. I haven't looked at the chat room yet, but I'm pretty sure somebody's going to say, you should trade Estime. You're not going to. Will Peterson suggested that in May, and I like Will a lot, but it was ridiculous to suggest it then. It's ridiculous to suggest it now. All right, to the chat room, and then a little bit of show and tell for you guys, because you might be able to see this right there over my shoulder. Should I do show and tell, or should I pull up some of your chat, continue to talk about the game? I kind of feel like show and tell, because right there is a surprise. Nobody can say anything, and don't you dare tell them on social networking. But that right there is a surprise. So let me scroll down here to the bottom of the chat room. You guys want me to show you what this is, or you want me to take your comments here? Man, there's a zillion comments. Thank you guys for chiming in. I got like 1,500 people watching right now. So it's awesome. And I appreciate you all so very much for joining me in this. There's Jason, Pot Degenerate Stoner, saying Death Angel Cecil needs to give me flowers. Wow, that's how far back I am in the chat room when I was complaining about flowers and pro football. Or wait. Pardon my take. Sorry, why do I always forget that? Yeah, I'm not a Barstool guy. It doesn't mean they're not the greatest thing ever. It's just not I'm old. Like Barstool's for 20-year-olds. Whatever. And it's fine. There's the greatest guys ever, or whatever I have to say. All right, chat room, let me know what you want me to do, and then I will do that. I am going to do show and tell. I wanted to bring up some comments first, but I am so far behind in these comments. Holy cow. I hope you all have been having a good conversation yourselves. Oh, Cycloptic says, is that a G.I. Joe shirt? Nope. Shelby. It's a Shelby shirt. I do have other Cobra shirts that are G.I. Joe shirts. Okay, so Kevin says show and tell, and that's the first comment I saw. Wes said it as well. All right, and then Michael said it, and then, oh, Dave knows what it is. Bo Nick's surprise. What is it? Not Bo Nick's Funko Pop, but I'm going to show this to you. It's very, very cool, and it has to do with one of my favorite comic book artists, too. So check this out. I'm glad I was wearing pants. So this is from McFarlane Toys, and it just came out. It was released in August, and I think it just came out a week ago. And I knew I'd seen this before, and my man Kevin Kistner, now no one can tell Kevin, and if he sees this, well, I'm sorry that I spoiled the surprise, but this thing is so flipping cool, I had to show you guys, and tonight's the type of show where I can show you the guys. So I saw one, I love McFarlane Toys. We all used to have the starting lineups, and I have some starting lineups in the garage of like Larry Johnson or Michael Jordan or whatever, and they're terrible because they're just like, and they're awful. Starting lineup are nostalgic, but remember, nostalgia is a form of depression. So like starting lineup are just awful. McFarlane Toys years ago, they started with that wave that had like Emmitt Smith in it. They changed the game with sports figures. So when I saw this one, and it was a pre-order, you had to pre-order this thing, and I don't think it's sold out. I think you can go to McFarlane Toys, and I'm unpaid endorsement. I think you can go there and get this right now because everyone needs to get this, because I got this for Kevin Kistner, and now I kind of want it. This is a Bo Nix McFarlane Toys. Look at that hologram on the front there. Hologram Bo Nix. And then I know I have my ring light on. Maybe I could try it without the ring light. It's probably too dark. But yeah, you can see just like the detail on this thing. Let me turn the light back on. The detail on this thing, on this action figure, is absolutely incredible. So I don't know what Kevin's going to do this. If he's going to leave it in the box, he's going to take it out and play with it or do other things with it. He is a big Bo Nix fan. I'm not saying it goes in his goon room, but like, dudes and dudettes, this thing's awesome. So I don't really collect action figures, not even comic books, even though I have an old Chewbacca right there. It's a fake, but it's an old 12-back Chewbacca on the card from 1977. But again, it's fake. So I don't really collect figures. I do have some statues, like actual statues. This isn't a statue, it's a figure, but it looks like a statue, and just everything on it is flipping awesome, man. So if you're into this sort of stuff, McFarlane Toys, Bo Nix. Again, I'm not selling this. This isn't. Although Gary V says that live social shopping is going to be the next big thing, and I firmly agree with Gary V. Maybe I watch too much Gary V. I want to own the Jets. But I think in China, live social shopping is about 50% of our digital economy, and in America, it's like 9%. But you're going to start watching shows now where instead of like running a commercial, I think I might have to run a commercial. But instead of running a commercial, you just have people be like, hey, buy this Bo Nix thing from me right now. And that's how you'll fund it. And I believe that's the wave of the future. I think it's Gary V calls it the QVC-ification of the internet. And I think if anyone's done Whatnot for comic books, I'm also have an eBay store, so I'm going to try eBay Live, which is the same thing. Walmart has a live shopping app where it's actual people selling stuff on video, like buy this now, bid right now. So I think that's coming. I'm not doing that tonight, but maybe one day you'll be watching good old Cecil Lammey schlepping figures so he can make a buck. So I can buy figures like this. Look at this thing. It's flipping cool. Let me know in the live chat. I'm going to wrap up here in a little bit, but let me know in the live chat if you like this or if you'd get this. If you would get this, whether you like figures or not, or you collect toys or collect comic books, or you're a nerd, or let's say you're totally not a nerd. Well, would you get this anyway? Because this is flipping cool. This is really cool. So can't wait to surprise Kevin with it. Nobody tell him. I'm trusting you, audience. And I'm also trusting Kevin's not watching this. He's probably watching Bo Nix highlights right now. Anyway, so let me know in the chat room. Let me know if you guys would like that. And Dave says, nice to be here and see it live. Thank you. Aaron says, sick shirt. Thank you. It's Shelby. It's celebrate their entire catalog. I want and it'll have to be a kit car, a factory 5 kit car, because I have a neighbor about 8 houses down who has the same house as me, same design. He has a real Shelby Cobra, not a Mustang Shelby, but a Shelby Cobra, and that's $1 million car. So I'll have to get a kit car because that's like an $80,000 car, and factory 5. Make sure it has a 427 side oiler. Anyway, that's my next Shelby. So there you go. Brad says hello. Gage says caught you on the way home. What's up, Gage? And then Dave says speaking the truth. I love it. Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, it's what we should. I said 13 wins. And I'm serious about 13 wins. I think list radio is stupid. I think trivia on the radio doesn't sound great. Sorry to my friends that do it all the time. I think hot takes are dumb. You know what I mean? I don't say 13. So then somebody tweets like Cecil Lammey says 13. I could give a damn. I look at this thing. I look at this schedule. Me and Mace did this the day the schedule came out. You saw it right here on Orange and Blue today. And I have him at 13 wins. Right there. 13-4. Boom. I said 13 wins. But when something's wrong with this team or off with this team, I'm going to say it. And not to be negative or pessimistic or it's only preseason, but like not everything's perfect. I'm not going to give you the Joe Lombardi. I don't think Bo did anything wrong against the 49ers. Really, Joe? Now, Joe Lombardi called the plays against the 49ers. Davis Webb called the plays tonight. I believe Davis Webb's going to be head coach, and he may skip. He may do the Andy Reid thing where he skips being a coordinator and just goes straight from a position coach to a head coach. We've seen it before. It doesn't happen often. Usually you go assistant, like position, then a coordinator, and then a head coach. Davis Webb is so good and so coveted. I think he could go. If I was a team out there and you're looking for like a sexy, young, different, out of the box kind of coach, and you don't want the retreads like, hey, what's Pat Shurmur doing or whatever? Like, I think Davis Webb is going to be a head coach in this league, maybe as soon as next year. And I think he'll be a damn good one. And we saw it tonight. He's calling the plays tonight. I mean, come on. And I know it's just preseason, but no, it was awesome. Awesome. McFarland used to make sports picks. Yep. Now he's got the Bo Nix figure out and other figures as well. So let me know. Cycloptic says I still have an Elway starting lineup. They are. Yeah. That's starting lineups. Not great, Bob. They are badass. There you go. Donald says that. Nice. That's sick. Take my money. You doing the Fry from Futurama? Take my money. Yeah. Harry Plopper says, damn it. Now I have to buy that Bo Nix figure. It is really, really cool, man. Again, this was not for me. I knew it was going to look good because it's a McFarlane figure, but like that thing is awesome. I spent half this show talking about this toy. It's not a toy, it's an action figure. Did you know that 2024 was the first year in America in shopping where toy sales were more by adults than children? It had always been moving that way as kids get addicted to these things and iPads and video games. It's the video games. I'm going to go play PUBG. Probably not. I have stuff to sell on eBay. Toy sales for adults now is more than toy sales for children, which is interesting, to say the least. There you go. It's going to Kevin Screwed game. That's right. Get it signed. In the media, I've never asked for an autograph. We're not allowed to. So Kevin would have to go to like a card show or something like that, which Bo will do some appearances, I'm sure. So yeah, he could do something independent of his radio responsibilities. I need a Jeff George one for reasons. I don't want to know what those reasons are, Jason, you pot stoner degenerate. There you go. You should see my Boba Fett. Want a RJ Harvey bobblehead with his fro. He has great hair. He has great hair. Live raffle. Yeah, see, there you go. Oh, it's on Amazon too. Way to go, Harry Plopper. Yeah, and it was about $40. Don't tell Kev again. Made in China. Yeah, probably. And they picked the worst uniform combination. I think they will, if they're like the old ones, and somebody tell me if I'm wrong, but back when the sports picks came out with McFarlane, he would do like chase figures. So the Emmitt Smith one like had the white jersey, but then there was like 1 in 10 that had the blue. So, and I love the blue or the throwback. Can you imagine? Or you could get custom figures. There's a lot of people. I used to dabble in that a little bit. Like I have a Heinz Ward figure that I did off of a Marvin Harrison figure, which is kind of weird because they're body types. But yeah, so you could have someone repaint this, put on the old logo and stuff like that. But it's a Bo Nix figure, and we'll take that. That's for sure. That is for sure. Crossshank has been trash. Crossshank. Wow. Nickname. Don't tell Mace that. And I'll listen to him as far as Crawshaw. When it gets to the regular season, obviously I'll pay more attention to special teams, but I generally don't like special teams. Just do your job and just please. I don't want to think about kickers or punters. Michael would buy it. That's for sure. Who starts in the nickel position? Jade Barron. Jade's your third. He needs to learn how to watch for those picks because they were picking him. He's a rookie. So he's going to get picked, but yeah, that was a emphasis for Arizona was like, hey, it was see Jade Barron, pick Jade Barron. Good in blitzes, can move all over the field like he did at Texas. They called it a star position. I would call it a rover. Some teams call it a joker. There's a joker on defense too. But Texas called it a star, and Jade Barron is a star. So nickel, yes. And then you've got Jaquan McMillan as your fourth corner, and Chris Abrams-Drain, who's really talented, is your fifth corner. Yeah, they are stacked at that position. That's for sure. Aaron says he just started getting into collected figures. There you go. Right on, man. Bo Chapman Knicks since day one, and go Bo Broncos. Was Priestcorn really that bad? It was the fumble in the end zone, but I think he's looked better than Caleb Lohner. And like the Caleb Lohner pick, I don't know if I ever will because of Luke Lachey being there, and mainly because Ja'Cory Cross-Gamera was like right there. And there was a reporter in Washington that speculated they might cut Brian Robinson because I thought they might get rid of Austin Eckler. I've been kind of nosing around about that because I would love Austin Eckler in Colorado. But anyway, there's some like ESPN reporter, maybe he's a terrible reporter, I don't know. But it was like they could cut Brian Robinson because Ja'Cory Cross-Gamera. So the fact that you had a starting caliber running back who you interviewed at the Shrine Bowl, who you liked at the Shrine Bowl, who Mason and I liked at the Shrine Bowl, and also interviewed at the Shrine Bowl, and Gage was there. What's up, Gage? When you have that guy who's like right in front of you in the 7th round, and you take a punter, or excuse me, not a punter. I'm a punters. You take a tight end that had 4 catches. Like, I don't care if they were for touchdowns. I don't care if they were for 3-pointers. I just pick him up undrafted if you really want it. Because Caden Priestcorn was undrafted, and he's an actual tight end. Caleb Lohner doesn't know what to do yet. Now, he's physical. I've seen him throw guys like ragdolls, which is cool. But I've also seen him get penalties. I've also seen him drop passes. I've also seen him not know how to run routes. Like, he doesn't know what to do yet. He can box you out, and he can throw you to the ground as a blocker, which is, I guess, a good start. He's way better than me or whatever I have to say. But no, Priestcorn to me has been better than Caleb Lohner. I like Caden Priestcorn, and when I watched Jackson Dart, and Jackson Dart to me was always like Drew Lock, although less likable. I like Drew. But like when you watch Jackson Dart, Priestcorn was the guy that popped. Like, not necessarily like Antonio Brown, Dan Lefevre. Because when that happened at Central Michigan, I was like, oh my God, this Dan Lefevre guy. They went up against Georgia. It was Antonio. I'm not saying Priestcorn is like that, where it's like totally not Jackson Dart. And Dart did look good, so far in this preseason. So that's positive. They're stupid and wasting time with Russell Wilson. We know all about that. Hands up. But like when you watch Dart, Prescorn was the guy that popped. You're like, whoa, this tight end, something there. And I think you see that. You saw it in practice. You saw it tonight, had the fumble in the end zone. Chase is looking to buy it now. There you go. Any possibility Stidham gets traded? I would put it at 0% because then Sam Ehlinger would have to be your backup to Bo Nix. And in a Super Bowl window, you just can't afford that. Guys are going to miss time. It's football. It's 100% injury rate. We want Bo for healthy forever and ever and ever. But if he has to miss 4 games, I trust Jarrett Stidham. And other teams, like you had your chance. You could have outbid the Broncos for Jarrett Stidham. Stidham at one time at Auburn, and it was before his final season. His final season, he wet the bed. But entering his senior season at Auburn, there were some who thought he might be the number 1 pick. That's how hyped he was as a college quarterback before his final season, when the flaws under pressure started to show and the getting sacked too much started to show. And as Sean Payton will tell you, get sacked a lot in college, you're going to get sacked a lot in the pros. That's a big part of his formula for quarterbacks. So everybody's tradable, but in the position the Broncos are in as a Super Bowl contender, it's okay to say that. Super Bowl contender. You can't trade Jarrett Stidham and have Sam Ehlinger as your backup. And you can't be scouring the waiver wire for a quarterback. You know, where's Tyler Huntley? Whatever. Bring Josh Johnson back. Josh is with the Commanders. Can't believe he's been in the league almost 20 years. That's craziness, man. Congrats to Josh. He's a really, really good dude. So, anyway, 11 or 12 dubs. I like it, Brad. I got 13. Sounds about right to win the division. I love that. Travis says, Cecil, what does stay frosty mean? Be cautious and look out for danger. It's a military term. And with my son being in special forces and not being in contact with him because you can't know where he's at in special forces, my way to give homage, not just to him, but to all of our men and women in our armed forces, is every day, or at least on shows that I host and all that, I say stay frosty because it's a military term. You know, you watched a military movie, sometimes they'll say it, but it just means be cautious and look out for danger. And that's what stay frosty. Some people think it means like drink beer or whatever. And I'm like, on a hot day, cold beer tastes real good. Not a beer drinker, not much of an alcohol drinker. It's just my own personal choice, whatever. But yeah, stay frosty isn't anything to do with booze. It's about military. It's like thank you. It's my way to say thank you. There you go. Okay. Gage says I'm not wavering on 11. Now, Gage, I did call out guys that said 11. Even Dover said 11. And I was like, y'all are riding the fence a little too much. Y'all are like, and watch, they'll get 11. It'll be like, I told you I was right, Lammey. Okay, that's fine. But I think 11's riding the fence. So I called out Mike Evans, called out Josh Dover, calling out Gage Madrid. 11? 11. Come on, baby. Come on. You're going to lie to this guy and say 11? Look at that face. You're going to tell that guy 11? At 10, 10's where you start. 10 wins in week 1. 10. That's where you start. Bump up that 11, baby. Say 12. Say 12. Say 12 for me. Say 12. Lie to me. Just say 12. Say 12. I think 11 is a little cutesy because it's like, well, just one more than last year. Like, no, they can win 13. And if you don't think that, say 12. Because one more win than last year, when last year Jonathan Taylor doesn't drop that ball, this team doesn't go to the playoffs. Like, they are so much better than last year. And Gage, you saw most everyday training camp. I believe you made every day. Let me know or just text me. 11. The doubters. The division's tough. Brad said they could go 3-3. Yep. Dave says he's a nerd. Gonna go buy one. Thank you. I wish McFarlane Toys was paying me for that. Audio's choppy. Maybe again, lightning storm. So I might be broadcasting with a tin can. There you go. Can they keep Webb? They've already made him an assistant head coach. Usually do that, like with Jim Leonard. You bump up a guy's title so other teams kind of just stay away. Well, you're getting a promotion. And with that likely comes a bump in pay, but like it's really a way to protect a guy. That's why they did that with Davis Webb, assistant head coach. And that's why they did that with Jim Leonard, assistant head coach. And if VJ gets a head coaching job, then Leonard's the DC. Davis, you're never going to call plays here, except in the preseason. So if his next step is an OC, and I think he can do the Andy Reid and skip right to it. But if his next step is OC, then he's gonna go, man. He's gonna go. And Davis did drop some fun stuff, that's for sure. That's for sure. Joan Ellis looked dominant. Cruising through space. Got any hot toys? I have a friend who's a hot toy dealer. My God, they're expensive. Let's see what's the closest statue I have. This is Death from Darksiders. Now I'm really nerding out. So I have all 4 statues. I have War, I have Death, I have Volgrim, and I have the sister. What is the sister's name? War, Death, Pestilence. God, why can't I remember the sister's name? Anyway, so no hot toys because they're incredibly expensive, but I do have some Gears of War statue, stuff like that. It's on Amazon. Okay, cool. Update, I bought the bow figure. Sorry, everybody. Sorry I'm making you. Adults have more money. That's true. And kids don't want toys anymore to a certain age. And they want electronics. And then Christmas gets really expensive. So Nick Wright saying more stuff about Denver. Yeah. Yeah. Cheers, Stoner. Oh, there you go. Miss KB's Toys them all. That's right. That's right. Just bought one. All right. There we go. There we go. All right. Well, I certainly appreciate you guys tonight. Michael bought it. Jade, one of the best tacklers on our team. He's going to be hellish on blitzes. That's for sure. Just learn about those picks. They're picking you, man. Learn about those picks. And he will do that. He will do that for sure. All right. Just super browsing really quick in case anyone has something else to say. Yeah, keep your head on your swivel. Watch your 6. Yep. Remember to turn down the thermostat. All right. But you're talking about Frosty Buds. It's that Darth Vader purple koosh. Poople? I don't think I want to smoke anything that was poople. Gotta go make videos. Cheers, Cease. Cheers, Gage. I don't know if you missed my 11 rant or not. It's got to be more than 11, Gage. 11's weak. 11's riding the fence. Say 12, everybody. Say 12. Ooh, 14 from Travis. Holy cow. Travis is crazy. I like that, Travis. What does BFD mean? Big flippin' deal. Except not flippin'. Last night, 5-1 in the division. I could see sweeping the Raiders, sweeping the Chargers, and then splitting home at home with Kansas City. As much as I can't stand Kansas City, I could definitely see that happening. Smash the like button. Cheers all. Famine. I don't think her name was Famine. That's going to bother me. I had to look it up. Sorry. I was annoyed. I was annoyed by that. Oh, Fury. Yeah. So it doesn't follow the 4 horsemen necessarily, even though they're called horsemen. Fury is her name. There you go. All right. Enough nerd stuff. I'm going to throw up some Mike Patton and then get it going. Appreciate everyone. Watch our Denver Sports YouTube channel. We're almost at 20,000 subscribers. I'll give you a live update right now as we speak. We have 19,978. I need 12. Give me 12. If you've watched to this point and seen me nerd out about video games, about comic books, and about this sweet Bo Nix action figure that everyone needs to buy right now, like and subscribe to our channel. We are 12 away from 20,000. I want the 12 tonight. I want the 12 to come from the show. Are you one of the 12? Drop it down in the comments section below, and I will give you my forever indebtedness and gratitude for getting us to 20,000. 12 more subscribers. Let's make it happen. I'm Cecil Lammey. Be back Monday with Andrew Mason on Orange or Blue Today. Everyone, thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned, and would you please say it with me? Stay frosty.